So the event we're at today is a LEEA Discovery event, and the idea is it's for LEEA to explain to potential members or people who are thinking about becoming LEEA members about what LEEA does and what LEEA can offer them. Over the past couple of years we've delivered a number of presentations as part of the ATS seminars. Jack from LEEA got involved this year and has started doing regional events. So we've spoken at a number of regional events this year. And following on from that, Jack asked if we'd like to come and speak to all the potential members, deliver a bit of a training talk and explain why we're happy to be LEEA members. We want to provide all of our customers with sort of the assurance and the standards that we're training to is second to none. And I think the only way that you can really do that is you need to train under what people will say is the organisation that best looks after that particular level of training or side of training. So where you look at sort of access training, you've got companies that look at that, where you've got lorry mounted cranes, you've got sort of accrediting bodies that do that. When we're sort of looking at lifting equipment, we're looking at overhead cranes and things like that, slinging. LEEA is the worldwide, renowned body for doing that. So that's why our training with them is so important, that we can offer our customers that sort of level of knowledge, and they can be assured that the standards that they're receiving off us are second to none. I think the main benefits for us of being a LEEA member is the actual knowledge that we can call on. Okay, so when you look at LEEA, they've got their technical committee, they've got the manuals they produce, their capsules, and just the depth of knowledge and information within that accreditation, it's absolutely phenomenal. I've got quite a good knowledge of health and safety myself, and I've worked in the industry for numerous years. But every so often someone will ask you a question and you're thinking, I think I know the answer, but you just want to make 100% sure. So if you're going back to a customer, I don't want to go back to a customer 90%, I want to go back to a customer with this is the definitive answer. So what LEEA gives us is that assurance that I can go to LEEA and I can say, can you help me with this? Or an enforcement agency may have contacted one of our customers and said, we think you might be doing this wrong, or this could happen. They come to me, I go to LEEA, and sometimes it's just a confirmation on what I think it is, but other times it's just giving that definitive thing, and then we can go back to the customer and we know what we're passing on is absolutely spot on. In terms of crane training, our sort of primary offering is what they call EOTC, which is electric overhead travelling crane. So you think about it, predominantly these are cranes that are setting the roof of buildings on gantries, so they're moving up and down the factory and then moving left and right, so they could be in steelworks, manufacturing, that kind of plan, heavy lifting. We work in aerospace, we work in defence, a whole sort of range and scope. So EOTC. Some of them also involve what they call pneumatic overhead cranes, where obviously they're not working on electrics, they're powered by air, but that's more specialist for explosive atmospheres. We also offer some of the smaller crane training, like the hoist cranes, some of the ones that are working off jibs, where you've got an arm that comes out, and some of them that are floor standing, so it's on a pedestal with a jib on it and then a hoist. So those are the main sort of cranes that we teach on, but then we also teach on slinging. So again, we teach a slinging course, we do an advanced slinging course, and then we also do a managing crane operations course. So really good for managers and supervisors. So obviously, if you think about Pure as a manager and supervisor, they don't have to know literally how to operate the crane, that is part of their job per se, but they need to have the knowledge and understanding of how that crane should be operated correctly or how the load should be slung. Because if they haven't got that, how can they supervise or manage? So that's the purpose of that course. So it's a broad range. I think crane training is important because you're throwing a number of different aspects all into sort of one area. So you've got, not only you controlling the crane, you're controlling the load, You've then got issues with segregation, with potentially people coming into it. You've got to have an understanding of, you know, sometimes mathematics. If you're taking things out and you're trying to work out angles, you're trying to work out load centres, you're trying to make sure that when you lift the load up, you know the centre of gravity. You've got an understanding of a lifting plan. So right from the start to the finish, you understand how to put the equipment away, how to stow it, previous checks. And it is so important because it's not just the fact that you're teaching someone to lift a piece of equipment, you're actually giving them all that theoretical knowledge as well. So they have an understanding of what the centre of gravity is, how you find the centre of gravity, how you find an included angle, an excluded angle, reductions you make if you're putting things in, and you know, if you put something in a basket, how you can double it. So it really is complex, and that's why it's so important, rather than just, you know, give you the control, you press a button and you lift it. Great, you might get lucky once, but it's probably the only time you will get lucky. And that's why training is so important. Plus, on the flip side of it, obviously it's a legal requirement for companies to provide training to all operators who are using work equipment.